For the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been working on a tool in my very limited spare time, and this tool is to help me learn languages using my preferred method. And for those who don't know, my preferred method is a variation of direct method. Essentially, what that is that you learn the language via the language itself in a highly structured way. So basically, it pulls on the benefits of comprehensible input as well as the benefits of traditional study. And it rolls it all into one. But there's very, very few courses that actually use this method, and the reason being is because it's hard. Okay, this is not like ALG, automatic language growth, which is a shotgun approach. I just throw a whole heap of videos at you, you watch them for hours on end, and eventually, you absorb different parts of the language and it all starts to come together. But it's also not a traditional method where you sit down with a grammar book and you just, work your way through that in your native language while learning about your target language. Instead, this is probably the hardest method to implement because you have to think about, how can I teach you the language in a language that you do not yet know? So I have to introduce it in the most piecemeal way possible and slowly expand on it. But for me personally, and for the many years I was teaching Esperanto using this seemed to be the most effective method for the vast majority of people. Now, obviously, there's going to be caveats to this, and lots of people are not going to enjoy this method. And when you're kind of just by yourself, you can't really use this, so it's not even applicable most of the time. But if you've got a good teacher who knows how to do direct method and a structured environment, has the time, this is probably one of the best ways to learn a language, in my opinion. Okay. So, I started working on a tool to basically act as the teacher to teach me a language using this method. And as I worked on it more and more, I was like, shit, man, I feel like this is something I would love to keep working on, go really far in depth and even share with you guys. But of course, at the end of the day, I have limited time. I work full time, etc. But maybe there's a route. And I'll show you the route by the end of this video. But first, I want to show you the tool in action, okay? So, what we're looking at here is Unreal Engine, okay? So, Unreal Engine is basically a game engine because I am a game developer. I work full-time as a game developer. And here, I built out the most basic of rooms, okay? Don't care about the art or anything like this, okay, because that stuff's not important. I'm like, this is just me prototyping. Okay, so in the middle of the room, I've got like basically a trash compactor, and in this room has dropped down a variation of objects, and you're going to see that there's basically two types of objects. I've got a cube and a sphere. That's very obvious what they are from the shape of them, okay? So how can this help me learn a language? Well, easy. I go up to this cube and I pick it up.
立方体
Now, you just heard in Chinese how to say cube, 立方体. Okay, I can drop it. I can pick it back up.
立方体
And then I can chuck it into here.
立方体
It plays it again, and it disappears, and it respawns that cube somewhere on the map over there. Okay, now this is how it works. Okay, so I'm going to explain what's going on here and what the plan is. So you've probably all heard about learning a language, acquiring a language. A lot of people like to make out as if these are two totally separate things. You can learn a language, but you won't acquire it or something like this. All of that's bullshit, okay? Essentially what happens is when they say acquire a language, you have automated your ability to either register or use the language. It's basically you've learned it to a point where it's become second nature. And this is the purpose here. So I've heard the word for cube, okay? 立方体. Now, I'm just going to keep repeating this. 立方体 whenever I look at it. Pick it
立
up.
方体
Hear it again. 立方体. I'm going to go drop it.
立方体
立方体. Now, I just keep doing this. Now, what about this object? Okay, well, let's pick it up first time.
球体
球体. Now, I know that's a sphere, okay? Obviously, that's a sphere. Look at it, okay? So now I go drop it. Now, before I drop it, what was it? It was 球体, so I'll drop it.
球体
球体. I've confirmed. Now, for me, this is all very, very simple Chinese, but I'm just giving you guys an example, okay? Now, let's say I do this 20, 30 times. It'll take me like 5 minutes to do this, okay? By the end of that 5 minutes, I've automated these two words. I've visually linked them to the objects in my mind. I am able to both hear them and say them and recognize them in context. So I know this is 球体.
球体
I know this is 立方体.
立方体
Okay? I know those objects now. Now, let's say that I've done this enough, and I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to jump through all 9 rooms, or levels, as I call them, so far. Now, obviously, you're not going to do this straight up unless you already speak the language. You would play around in this room type of thing, and it looks very boring. Spheres and cubes, yeah? But we're starting from day one. You know nothing about the language. Okay, let's go to the next room. Boom, I'm in the next room. Okay, now I've got spheres and cubes, but I've got different, like, materials on them. This is a metal, this one's metal, this one's wood, and I haven't made any, like, good-looking textures, but this is meant to be plastic, okay? So, that obviously means that I'm no longer going to just say cube, I'm going to say wooden cube, right? So how do I say that? Well, I don't know. Let's pick it up.
木头立方体，
木头立方体. Well, I know 立方体 because I've already automated that from the previous level. Now, remember, assume you've probably played that for like 5-10 minutes in one day and then you logged off, you come on the next day. So, 木头立方体. Okay, what about this one? This is a plastic cube.
塑料立方体，
塑料立方体. Now, also, we've got a metal cube.
金属立方体，
金属立方体. So now I know these three like new materials, okay? But I've also got the sphere. Well, I remember what sphere was. It was 球体. I've already forgotten metal. Let's just assume. I've already forgotten metal. Oh, what was it again? It was something like 金 something.
金属球体，
Okay, 金属球体. Now I go to drop it. Before I drop it, I try recall it again. 金属球体. I drop it.
金属球体，
I rehear it. Okay, let's go look for something else. This is also metal, so it's 金属立方体. Pick it up.
金属立方体，
Okay, cool. Yep, I've got it. 金属立方体.
金属立方体，
And I just keep doing that, okay. Now again, this is really basic, but you could, let's say you've completed the first 2 levels, you do 5 minutes on each day or whatever, 10 minutes on each day. You've already learned how to say 2 different geometric objects and 3 of the most common materials, okay? So let's go to the next level. And I'm going to start speed running these, okay? So in the next level, now what I've got here is I've got paint on them, okay? Now, ignore how shit these textures are, okay? Some of them are very hard to see, like this one here. This is white paint on the cube, and this one's black paint on the cube, okay? I will make this all look pretty if we decide this is something as a community we want. So this would be black cube. It's not plastic because I can see it's still got the cube-like things on it. So it'd be, what is black? I don't know. Let's pretend. Pick it up.
黑色立方体，
Oh, 黑色立方体. So now I'm going to learn how to say black. I'm going to learn how to say white. And that's what I learn here. And I learn how to slot that in with a sphere. So a white sphere, which would be 白色球体.
白色球体，
白色球体. Okay, you see that? And I just play around in here. Do this as many times as I want until I feel like I've automated this process. Eventually in the UI, I could have something like a time tracker so you know how much time you've spent. I could have like a word counter, so how many words you've learnt, and even have like statistics on each of the words, how many times you've heard them. And like I'd play around this room until I've learnt white and black. And then I can move to the next room. Now we're going to get
白色
tested.
金属立方体，
So we're going to get tested on combining these. So now we've got the plastic sphere with black. So I'm now stacking adjectives. Black, plastic, sphere. So let's listen.
黑色塑料球体，
黑色塑料球体. And then you just do that. You just pick these things up. You throw them into the little compactor in the middle of the room. It respawns however many times you want. It's basically like an SRS program, okay? And then we've got 白色木头球体.
白色木头球体，
And then before I chuck it in, I try again. 白色木头球体.
白色木头球体，
I confirm. Yep, I got that right. And I keep playing around in here. Now let's move on. We'll see more advanced level. Okay, so now, hey, we've got some more geometric objects. We've got like a ring or a torus type shape. We've got this cylinder over here. What else we got around here? Oh, look at this. We've got a cone. So now I got to learn the words for these.
圆锥体，
圆锥体. Okay, 圆锥体.
圆
Throw that in
锥
the
体
compactor.，圆锥体. Throw it in the compactor. Now what's this one?
环面体，
环面体. Okay, cool. Let's go throw this one in the compactor.
环面体，
环面体. Now assume I get really good at all these. You know, another 5-10 minutes per day or whatever. Go to the next level. Okay, now look at this. We've got some new colors being introduced. And with these new geometric shapes that we've just learned about. So we're going to learn about red. We're going to learn blue, green, all these types of things. Let's assume we do all these, get good at them, move to the next level. Boom! Now look at this, we're getting combinations, we're getting the materials, so the wood with the new geometric shapes and the new colors. It's all starting to stack up, it's building on top of what we've learned. Okay, how much further can we take this? Let's go to the next level. Boom, what is
这个
this?
球体
We have a character. He just ran up to this thing and he said, 这个球体. Now if you listen to the previous part of the video, you probably know by now 球体 means sphere. Okay, well I'll go pick
球
this one up.
体
And I'll go drop this, okay? Now, what would "jugga" mean?
球体
Let's see what he does.
这个圆柱体
So he runs up to this and he says, 这个圆柱体. Well, I'm guessing that means this, right?
圆柱体
圆柱体. So let's go chuck this and let's see what he does now.
圆柱体这个球体
Ah, you see that? He pointed at it. He ran up to it, he pointed at it, then he talked. Or she, I guess, because it's a female voice. Ah, okay, so 这个球体. Okay.
球体球
And we'll
体
just see it one more time.
这个圆锥体
And now he's gone and picked up this one. Now, this is where you start to introduce the grammar. So you do this enough, you're going to learn how to say this. You're going to associate it with someone walking up to an object, pointing their hand at it, and then saying it. Okay, now obviously there's no animations here. I haven't got walking animations or the head turning or anything like that. All that shit's just graphical stuff I can add later on. I'm just working on the core at the moment. But now imagine from here, in the next map I can take it in, I could have multiples of objects. So you have two come together, and that's how you learn the plural, okay? Or the numbers 1, 2, and 3, or just 1 and 2. And then from there you can learn this, these, okay? Because now he'll be pointing at a group rather than just one. And then eventually he won't run completely up to it. Maybe he'll run some distance away and then he'll point at it. And then you'll go, okay, so that means that. But if he runs right up to it, it means this. So he'd be like, 这个球体, that means this sphere. But if he points really far away at it, and he goes, 那个球体, you know, that means, oh, that sphere. And that's basically how this works. It just keeps stacking on everything you've learnt before, and it puts it into a playable environment. Now, obviously, you're not going to just hang around with cubes and cones and shit all day. The reason I'm teaching these geometric items is because eventually you're going to start to learn items like cups, books, and you're going to want to be able to associate those with their shape, and this will be allowed to teach you how to use auxiliary verbs and things like this, and then also start adding more and more and more until you can build that and you get kind of a natural understanding of how the language works in an actual environment. Now, as you can see, this is a lot of work to set up, especially when I have to think about it from the perspective of, okay, this doesn't just need to work for Chinese, it needs to also work for Esperanto, it needs to also work for Spanish. Obviously, some languages have genders, okay? So, for example, the gender of these geometric shapes is the same in most Romance languages except for the sphere. The sphere has a different gender. Okay, so and Chinese doesn't even have genders. So I have to think about it carefully. Okay, if I'm going to introduce genders, I can't just mix and match them. I need to show you that there's a difference between how these are, you know, associated. But it has to be visually understood almost immediately. You can't be just sitting here going, what's going on? Why am I confused? Because the plan is you learn the language via the language. Now, once you get like enough of the really basic parts, you can start using that basic part of the language to help teach the more abstract ideas of the other parts of the language. But this is a shite ton of work to set up. I've been working on this for like 2 to 3 weeks now just to get what you saw there. And I've been practicing and using it. I actually didn't know the geometric shapes in Chinese before I started this, but I actually know them quite well now. That's why I started with them in one way, and also I was thinking more long-term, because I got like the next 50 lessons kind of planned out in my head, and I need to make sure everything I introduce helps you get to those next 50 lessons, but yeah, it's going to take me a long time. Plus, I want to build systems so that you'll actually have a folder with an ini file, and you can put the sound files in there and associate them to the correct words and stuff. And then basically, as you load this program, you just go boom, you select that folder, and it just loads in all those sounds. And you could teach your own language, a minority language, you know, Conlang, or some big language. People could make their own language packs or whatever. That's my crazy, like, long-term ideas for it. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys because I've really enjoyed working on this in my spare time, and it takes my strengths from like all the different types of things I do. Now, I also said at the beginning of this video, if this is something that you think would would be really cool and you'd love to see like evolved into a bigger product that's not just for myself, it's available to you guys, I've actually got a Patreon. I never speak about it on this channel, but I do have a Patreon, and I've decided to just fire it up, and I'll just jump over so you guys can have a quick look. Okay, so I'm on my Patreon page. There'll be a link in the description and stuff. You can come over here, and if you want to get like access to me working on this behind the scenes and some short videos and stuff, and also get access to the executables as they roll out, I kind of want to maybe get the first executable out in like a week or two, and then I've got an artist mate who actually used to work at Disney, who he's more than happy to come through and make this look absolutely beautiful, he said. So I can maybe, you know, every 2 weeks drop a new executable with stuff in there. And if you join with the supporter tier, you'll just get access to all of that. And if you join with the grinder tier, the only difference is I'll add your name in the credits in the game. That's pretty much it. I think this is a pretty like reasonable thing. You know, $3.99. You guys can basically just, you know, get this program as I work on it, suggest ideas and stuff about what you want to see with it. And if enough people support it, you never know. Maybe this is something that I can actually, you know, turn into a long-term project and possibly even a job one day, so I don't have to keep going into the goddamn office. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to share this with you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you all in the next video.